You have to have that fire inside. You've got the fire saying, this is what I want, this is where I'm going, and the answers will come, because most of you listening probably have done things that you had no idea how you were going to achieve it, but you have, because you had a fire for wanting to do it.
Good day, Industrial Advisors listeners, and thank you for tuning in. If you have not subscribed, please do so by clicking subscribe wherever you podcast. Click the like button and hit the bell if you want notifications of when we put up new content. Leave us a comment about anything we discuss here today or general comments about the show. Now, let's get into it.
Welcome to our Industrial Advisors podcast. You have Bill Condon and Matt McGregor here today, and we have a very special guest here with us today. One of my favorite guys in the industry, Dave Hibbard, is with us today, and I have a long history with Dave. Dave is one of the very best commercial real estate trainers out there. No question about it. In fact, Dave's been very influential in my career. The first time that I had the opportunity to get training from Dave I was about 6 months, Dave, I don't know if you remember this or not, it was about 20 years ago. I was about 6 months into the business. You came in, and our MD at the time, Rob Agner, hired you to come in and teach all of us how to cold call more effectively. And the time for me, I was banging out a gazillion calls a day. I'm 6 months into the business, and it was the perfect time for me to learn. And you came in, and I remember you'd do these breakout sessions and you do live dials. And I actually got like my first huge meeting during those breakout sessions.
I remember that well.
Using your methodology. And I got a meeting with this group, and they ended up being a huge deal for me. I did a 190,000 square foot build to suit, sold their 60,000 square foot building, and have ultimately done about 8 to 10 deals with this same group. And they've also become friends of mine. But I got in the door because of the training that we utilized through you. And anyway, it's something I'll never forget. It's a great story, and it was life-changing for me. So awesome to have you on the podcast with us.
Okay, glad to be here. Thank you, Bill, for that nice tee up. Are we ready to rock?
Yeah, Matt, why don't you talk? Matt, let's
we're
talk
definitely
about
ready to rock. But and that was legendary, Bill. I as I recall, Dave threw a spooner out of the room.
He did.
Well.
He threw a guy out of the room
non-believer
that was not buying into the concept. And
get out.
Yes. Dave's the only trainer you'll pay that won't take your crap, right?
Yeah,
you pay him and he'll throw you out.
This is
not a democracy.
That's right. Well, Dave, welcome to the show. I got to tell you, I've done sales training my whole life. You are world class. Your books are world class. Your techniques are unbelievable. I've seen you multiple times. I use your stuff. It's proven time and time again. But I would say the biggest difference between you and most trainers that I've ever seen is mindset. And, that's a huge thing with you. So talk to us about mindset.
Okay. Well, first of all, let me say thanks to Colliers, Seattle, and to Bill Condon and Matt McGregor, two superstars. And these guys are real pros. If you don't know them, you should. If you have commercial real estate needs, these are two guys you want to talk to. They have high integrity and they get the job done. So happy to have that relationship over these years. And thanks for having me on. Okay, so this is mindset. And mindset is part of prospecting. It's part of having a great life. This podcast that I'm doing is called Life of Choice, because that's what I believe is important to me, and I hope others. It's not just about how much money do you have, but it's about, do you have a life of choice? And so mindset's the big card. That's the big deal on this. And, the thing I've discovered after all these years of training globally is top performers win consistently, not just because of what they know, because they know a lot, but more importantly, it's how they think. It's their mindset. And so then we talk about, well, what is mindset? You can look it up. There's a bunch of definitions, but mindset is really a reflection of your beliefs. It's all the beliefs that we have. You got a bunch of beliefs, and you say, okay, these beliefs that I have, I believe in them. That's what they're called, beliefs. And so that's what I have. That's my foundation of action. So beliefs are driving your actions. That's what causes you to do what you do. And actions are what deliver your results. Got it? So it's pretty simple. Let's run it again. Beliefs are driving your actions, and your actions drive your results. So if you're not getting what you want in your life, if you're not getting all the things that you say you want, as I just said, then what is very simple, right? Just change your beliefs. That's it. And so we could end the podcast right there. Go change your beliefs and then get what you want.
That's simple.
Everybody says, well, yeah, but I don't know. How do you do that? As a matter of fact, here's the thing. When people say change your beliefs, someone will tell you not to change your beliefs, not to alter your beliefs, not to make up a new belief, but they'll tell you instead to change your actions. Because people go right to actions. Most managers will say, look, the problem you're having is you need to make more calls. If you didn't get an appointment on 50 calls, then make 100 calls. That's the way I did it. That's what you should do. Or if you're not losing weight, eat less and exercise more. That's what you do. Change your actions. Or take more risks. You're not taking enough risks. Or come in earlier, or increase your work ethic. So anytime people are not getting what they want, and they're going to a coach, let's say, the coach is generally going to go into their actions. You're not working hard enough. You're not doing this right, because they don't really get, unless they're trained, that the actions are being propagated or supercharged from the individual's beliefs. So that's the big game. And so you say, well, okay, Dave, so I don't know if I buy in or not. It's kind of weird. And by the way, this is going to hit you. Talk about weird. Let me give you something that's going to throw you a little bit of a loop. All the beliefs, for the most part, we'll call it, are not even true that you hold. They're not even true beliefs. Beliefs are coming from an experience, right? I mean, you would know that. You have an experience, like we're having an experience right now. I'm speaking on this Life of Choice podcast, and you're experiencing it. And when it's over, you'll say, well, I liked it, or I didn't like it, or I thought it was ridiculous, or I thought it was amazing. Two people could have a different opinion. It doesn't matter. It's a neutral event. Experiences are all neutral. And once you are experiencing something, you're really in this neutral space. And the only time it starts to take on any meaning to you or belief is when you interpret it. Something happens, you say, okay, I interpret that to be this. And when you interpret something, you say that's what this means, then what is it you think that people want to be about what they interpret? They want to be right. They want to be right. It's my interpretation. I'm right. And they want to say that this is the truth. This is true. And so anytime someone has a neutral event in their life, like we're having right now, and then afterwards you make up a belief that Hibbard, the Life of Choice, is ridiculous, then you have that mindset that that's what it is. And then you go forward, probably to look up all my material and say, look, there's more ridiculous stuff. Because you'll always seek evidence. You'll always seek evidence to prove that your beliefs are true.
For sure.
And they're not even true. They're just beliefs. I'll give you an example. I have a belief that I can get a parking place anywhere. Some people I talk to have that.
Parking karma.
Parking karma. It could be Friday night. There's a parade in town, and I think I'm going to get a spot right in front of the restaurant. And people say to me, well, how do you do that? I tell them, I don't know. I don't know how I do it. I just believe that that's going to happen. And maybe the universe delivers it, whatever that is. And I think, okay, look, I get a spot. If I don't get it on my first round, I'll go around again. If some guy pulls out in front of me, I think, perfect. That guy pulled out in front of me just enough time for the person to pull out of their car where I'm going to go. And it just happens. It just happens all the time. And so we have these beliefs that create opportunity. I was talking to my partner, who was my wife. We've been in business for 30 plus years. And I was talking to her today, and I said, you know what, a belief I have? I just don't believe I'd ever be poor. I mean, I have a life of choice because that's what I want. And I never knew how to get that, but I believed and knew that I would get it because that's what I wanted. Mm-hmm. And the beliefs that were driving that force inside me came from my history of not having any money and, my family and the things we went through and living in the back of a bar in Chicago and all that. So I made a decision that, you know what, I'm going to get what I want. I'm going to win, and I'm going to have a nice car, and I'm going to have a nice home, and I'm going to get the stuff that I want. And I never had a belief that I would get a jet or I'd be a billionaire, or just didn't have that in my head. I just had, you know what, I'm going to have a great life, and I'm going to make money. And that was it. And I didn't even know how I was going to do it. And I always say the universe, but you call it what you want, depends how you think. But the universe delivered the answers. I ended up in California from Chicago. I ended up in commercial real estate. I worked like an animal in commercial real estate. I made a lot of money. I got to buy a nice car and got to do stuff. And I found a person in my life who I'm married to for 38 years now that is amazing. And so I have this life of choice. It's what I went after. And it's what I went after. And it wasn't about me changing my actions. It wasn't about me, working harder. I was already working hard. It was about believing that I would achieve that. It was in my DNA, so to speak. So connect with that. But you might say, well, Dave, so how do you change your beliefs? And why would you use the word change? Because change would imply that the belief you have is wrong. And the beliefs aren't wrong. Let's catch this. Beliefs, something happens. Okay, let's go back to that. Something happens, and you make up a interpretation of that called your belief. Now, that interpretation isn't true. It isn't false. It isn't good. It isn't bad. It isn't right. It isn't wrong. It's just an interpretation. That's all it is. Just your interpretation. And since you interpreted it, as I said, you say to yourself, that's the truth. That's right. That is true. And since now I think it's true in my head, I will go out and prove that it's true. I'll tell you, we're going to talk about driving revenue and prospecting and producing results in that in a future podcast here. And one of the things that comes up on it is people have a belief that they should never call someone on a telephone, on their cell phone. Let's say if they get the number on a weekend, like, hey, don't do that. You don't call a CEO on a weekend. And I will ask people, why wouldn't you? Well, because they'll get upset, and you could lose a relationship, and they don't want to talk anyway. It's a weekend, and they're playing golf, or and they tell you all these things and I'm listening to them, hearing their beliefs. Then I'll ask someone else, hey, Carol, would you call a CEO on a weekend? Yeah. Are you serious? Why? Well, I think they'll respect me for that. I think they probably like that I'm doing it. I think that they'll invite me to do a deal with them because of that. Yeah, but do you think they'll get angry? No, why not? I don't know. I just don't think they would. I think they're going to like that I called. So you got in a class I'm teaching, I got two people. One says they're going to be killed, and the other one says they're going to live forever. They both have this. Where do they get this? And guess what? The person who says, I would never call on the weekend, if they're in my class and I'm training them how to make a prospecting call, and we're doing live dialing, and I say, well, look, you got the number, a mobile number, call right now. And they, I don't know if I want to. It could be a problem. No, do it. And I convince them to do it, right? Now, they believe they shouldn't do it, but I convince them to do it. Guess what's going to happen?
They're not going to do well.
No, they're going to do it, right? And they're going to do well. The guy, whoever they call, is going to get upset with them.
Oh, for sure.
Then they're going to hang up and say, see, I told you.
Okay, so let me ask you a question on that, Dave, because I totally agree with that. And Bill, for the example, is the type of guy that's going to have the mindset of I'm going to make the call, and the guy's going to answer, and he's going to love to talk to me, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I think Bill was born with that. I've got other guys on my team or past members that completely, when we talked about this concept, and we've talked about dialing on Sundays or something, right? He's like, never would I ever do that, right? So the question I would have for you on mindset is, can it be taught? Or do you just find guys like Bill Condon that, are, head down and positive and already have that, and you can fine tune it, but can it be taught?
Well, yeah, it can be taught if I can get into somebody's mindset. But the problem is this: lots of people stay stuck in their beliefs because they get a payoff. Now, if someone doesn't want to make a prospecting call on a Friday at 5:30 when they have a CEO's cell number, let's say, or on a Saturday morning, they don't want to do it. There's a payoff for them not doing it. And that payoff might be, well, I don't have to do it, period. Or the payoff might be that I get to avoid responsibility. There's payoffs for people staying stuck. I'll give you an example.
Comfortable.
But whatever it is, they want to stand on their belief that they're right about it. You can't talk to them. Look,
can't talk to them on Saturday.
Well, I can't convince people Trump was amazing. I can't convince those who thought he was amazing he wasn't amazing. I can't convince someone who's a Democrat that should be a Republican or a left to the right. It's already cooked in.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty hard to get in that head unless you can back up and find out when did you have an event that caused you to believe this?
Mm-hmm.
Where did you get that?
That's right.
And in order to get there, Matt, Bill, people have two choices. If you want to understand how your beliefs are hidden, one choice is get, as I call it, get processed. Go to somebody that'll dig in your skull and say, "Hey, when did you think like this?" But most people
Did you call that get processed?
Yeah, get processed. Go to a therapist. Go to a place. I'll give you a place. I mean, go somewhere where people start talking about when did you get that belief?
Mm-hmm.
And the other way to crush beliefs that are not certain. But let me back up. Sorry for this little segue for a minute. Remember, I said they're not true, false, good, bad, right, or wrong.
Mm-hmm.
All beliefs are things that serve you or don't serve you. That's all they are. They're either serving you,
Mm-hmm.
like you could be really angry about your history and it's serving you to make money, or you could be really your parents said, hey, you're not going to mount anything. You believe that, so you don't mount anything. I mean, it just depends how it's serving you. So the way to beat your beliefs that aren't serving you, if you find those, are to find a compelling vision. If you get a compelling vision, it crushes beliefs. I had a guy that called me one time that I trained, and he called me. He said, "Hey, Dave, how you doing?" I said, "Oh, I'm doing pretty good. How you doing?" He said, "Yeah, that's all right." He said, "The company sucks, though. I tell you, the leadership is lousy. They just don't get it." And he was rattling on about how bad it was. And I said, "Tom, it sounds like you lost your vision." Now, if you've got time to be negative, that means you don't have time to face your vision. So your vision is missing. Otherwise, you don't have it. Michael Jordan said in the playoffs once, "It's between me and the basket. The defenders have nothing to do with it." He didn't even see it. It's like, I don't know. I guess they're over there, but it has nothing to do with me. I'm going up there. And so vision creates an issue. There's a story I'll give you real quick. A guy goes into a country store. We'll call it a country store anyway. And he walks in, and it's an old wood floor store on a corner. And there's a big old hound dog laying on the floor. And the hound dog is howling and like moaning. And the guy says at the store owner, "Wow." He says, "Is this your dog?" And he said, "Yeah, it's my dog." He said, "Boy, it seems like he's in a lot of pain." He said, "Oh, yeah." He said, "He's hurting real bad right now." He said, "Well, can he get up, or what's wrong with him? What's happened? He's have a bad leg or something?" He said, No, he's laying on a nail." So he's laying on a nail. He said, can he get up or what? "Yeah, he can get up." "Well, why doesn't he get up if it hurts him that bad?" "Well," he said, "it doesn't hurt him bad enough yet."
It didn't hurt bad enough yet.
So if you don't buy this kind of information, which is cool, if you don't, okay, well, it's not your time. You're not there yet. You don't want to do it. That's okay.
Right.
If you're happy where you are, be happy where you are. Listen, if that's it, that's it. But I'm telling you, if you want to have a better marriage, if you want to lose weight, if you want to meet someone to love, if you want to have a life of choice, as I say, I assure you, it's connected to your belief system. And your belief system, again, was born primarily, if you want to know who are the greatest creators of your beliefs, we know it'd be mom and dad. It's back in the parent spot. What'd they tell you? Don't take risks, honey. Be careful. You don't want to take risks because you could have your dad took a risk once. We almost lost everything. So don't take risks. Another parent saying, "Oh, get out there, take some risks. That's how you live." So what did you believe? If someone of authority is telling you this is what the truth is, then you as a kid grow up saying, "Well, that's what it is. That's the truth." And so that's what you hang your hat on. So
I got to stop you right there for
Yeah.
a second, Dave, because so the mindset thing is super important. the belief thing is important. And I'm going to bring it back to your SOAR training through cold calling. SOAR stands for Surge of Accelerating Revenue. I don't know if you still call it that anymore, but when you did the cold calling training and have over the years, the tactics work. So like the process, the ride the bull, all that stuff works. But one of the biggest things that you do when you talk to people is, and before they dial, is, do you believe you're going to get a meeting? Do you believe you're going to get a meeting? Right? Because if you don't, you're not going to, right?
That's right.
And if you do, if you go in with that mindset that you are, doesn't guarantee you that you're going to get a meeting, but there's a lot greater probability that you will. And so I think that when you combine the proven tactics that you have through the ride the bull and everything, combined with that mental edge of like, I believe I'm going to do this, it creates results that are unmatched. And we've seen it in group settings with you when we do live dials. I think the big thing for people after they leave a training like that is to carry forward that mindset that they are going to continue to, keep that up and believe that every call they make, they're going to go get a meeting. Right. And then to take it a step further, like, do you believe that you're really going to add value to that meeting? Because if you believe both of those things, like you walk into it and you believe you're going to get the meeting and you also believe you're going to add value to that company, then it creates off the chart success.
Well, it's so true, Bill. Of course, coming from you, of course, that's what you believe. And that's what I get people to think like that in the trainings. But it's also from threatening, because when they're across the table getting ready to dial in front of all their peers, I tell them if they hang up before I say you can hang up, then I'm going to attack them in the room. So, but believing does make a big difference. And, I said, if you're not buying it, okay, it's all right. You'll buy it when you buy it, dog on a nail. But if you are buying what I'm saying, if you are interested in this more, get out and declare a vision. Find out what lights your heart on fire. What do you want? And forget about, because when I tell people, go find out what you want and declare it. And then lots of times they'll say, well, then what do I do though? I don't know how to do that. And then I told you in this podcast in the beginning of that, I would give you a formula that the letter I creates H. So that stands for intention creates how. How does not create intention. So the fact that you know how to do something really well doesn't mean you're going to do it, because maybe don't want to do it. But if you want something, you don't need to know how to do something. You really don't need to know how. You just have to be hot. You have to have that fire inside. If you've got the fire saying, this is what I want, this is where I'm going, I don't know how it's going to happen, but I'm telling you, it's going there, and the answers will come, because most of you listening probably have done things that you had no idea how you were going to achieve it, but you have, because you had a fire for wanting to do it. And that's really the key to this whole game we're in. Mindset matters. Mechanics matter, the tactics, the product knowledge, competency, I get it. But take away mindset, you take away a lot. And it's not just in prospecting, it's in your relationships, your weight, your health, your life. And I'm telling you, that is the big game. So I hope you got something out of it today. I hope that, I know it's a little bit Ouija boardish, if you call it that, or wiggly wobbly or space talk, but I'm telling you, I live it. And I've given it to people, they live it. So thanks for listening.
Yeah. So Dave, we're going to do a follow-up podcast on producing results. So look for that. We'll do that.
You got to tune into that, listeners. It's going to be a heck of one.
But Dave, do me a favor and share your contact information with everyone in case because you still do trainings, and a lot of them, and they're always productive. Every time we've invested, we've seen results that are off the charts. So share your contact information, please.
Okay, here we go. Quick. Telephone, first of all, 949-689-8872. 949-689-8872. Email is dave@dialexis, which is the name of our company, like dial, interesting, DIALEX, like the Xavier, XIS is the Sam, DIALEXIS.com. And I'm on 24/7. Call me, I'll answer. If I'm doing something, I can't pick up the phone, I'll call you back. That's my deal.
And Dave's contact information is also in the footnotes of this podcast. So just look below.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks a lot, Bill. Thanks, Seattle.
Thanks, Dave.
Appreciate it.